And all right, there we go. Okay, yeah, could you start by doing just a quick drop for the show? Like, hey, this is TJ Miller, and you're watching the Dominick Natty Show.
All right, yeah, of course. Am I light enough? Is this good?
Yeah, it looks good. I like it.
All right, great. I need something.
You need a prop?
Yeah, kind of. Is it or is it just audio?
No, it's video. But yeah, take your time whenever you're ready.
Let's see if there's something fun. Hold on real quick.
Okay.
Oh, I know, have fun with this. All right. Anytime?
Yep. Hey, let me just look at the camera. Okay. Yep. Anytime.
This is TJ Miller, and you're watching the Dominick Natty Show. You better be. Perfect.
Okay, I'll just do my radio intro, and then we'll jump.
Sounds great. Can't even believe it, but I don't know how to put this back on.
With your gun?
Yeah. That'll happen. Something like that. All right, man.
We got it. Okay. I might go this way. Go back to this way. Okay. I'll just do my radio intro. And just go down, and then we'll get started. Okay, welcome back to the Dominick Natty Show on Intellectual Radio in Chicago and everywhere that voices can be heard. I've been telling you about our special guest, and the time has come. The man himself is with us today, TJ Miller. TJ, how are you doing?
Nice to see you, Dominic. This is exciting. I said I can't do a cigar, but I'm gonna get a sort of more emasculating smoke for the end of the show. But for now, here we are in my living room / library / dining / den. I live in New York City, so you know.
Well, is the bathroom in there?
The bathroom is definitely in here.
It's just wherever you're at. Now, okay, so first of all, I know you released a new special, Dear Jonah, right?
Yeah, which I think you've seen, right?
I've seen it, yes.
You're the best person I've talked to on the radio. Yeah. As expected.
Yes. So so that came out last month. Now, like, what to talk to our viewers that may not have seen it, this is just on YouTube. It's not streaming on a paid service, right? So everybody can watch it. What can they expect when they watch it?
Well, that it's completely different from anything else. Also, are you lying down on the floor and looking into the camera?
I get this a lot. This was my idea of a backdrop. It's like a fur, like a velour blanket.
I love it, but the angle is weird. How high up is the camera?
The camera is higher up because then the glare is less in my sunglasses from the ring light.
I
But I
see.
get that a lot. I get that I'm laying down, and I also get that I might be Ronnie from the Jersey Shore. So
It's those. It's one or the other. It's all.
yeah,
It's just those two. Has anyone ever said both?
I've also been called a Walmart Borat for some of my questioning. Yeah,
I don't.
so
I would not say that to anyone, even
that's
my
rude.
worst enemy. To be
Yeah,
honest with you. Yeah, I
but I
think
am
that's
not
right.
laying down. But it would be kind of sexy if I was. I think.
I mean, I think it's sexy no matter what. To be honest with you.
Thank you. Thank
Uh, I'm moving you so it looks more like I'm staying. Okay. So it's gonna be something they've never seen before because as you saw, it starts off like a regular stand-up special, and it was going to be. It was going to be called the Pandemic Special. And I did 4 shows. I recorded 4 shows with like 6 cameras. It's a very professional special. And then the first show on Friday, not that great. And then the second show on Friday night, which is traditionally the terrible show,
you. Yeah.
So that's kind of always the rowdiest. And I filmed in Nashville, Tennessee, and Nashville is like a bachelorette party where they put a city inside of it. It's like a giant bachelorette party. And so I just figured second show is just going to be a disaster. Absolutely. And I was just going to riff. And then we'd have some of that. We put it on social and a story. Then I got on stage and it was the best show. It was just the best audience. I was like, this is going to be the show. We've got it. And somebody in the front row started heckling. And I
Right.
was like, no. And I thought, okay, it's some drunk guy. I'll just ignore him. And I did, but he kept heckling. But the heckles were weird. They're like, oh, that's good. Yeah, that's true. And yeah, it's hilarious. Don't you guys think it's hilarious? And so I said, all right, he's so drunk, he just doesn't realize there's other people. And I talked to him, and immediately he answers me. I asked him a question about his cargo pants. And when he answers this long, detailed explanation of why he likes cargo pants, even though he doesn't keep things in his cargo pockets, it's clear he's not drunk at all. He has special needs. He's like on the spec, it's unclear. But I kind of handle that by telling the audience, I am not going to make fun of this guy at all. And then he interrupts me again and he keeps getting incorporated in the show. And that, so I renamed it Dear Jonah because this guy, Jonah, eventually becomes sort of the star of the show. I mean, you saw it. He's part of the closer. He has the funniest line of the entire night. So it was, going to be an hour and 5-minute special called the Pandemic Special. And now it's 45-minute special called Dear Jonah. And the fact that we caught him on camera, that we got everything that we needed, it's just a lightning in a bottle. That's never going to happen to anybody else. It only happened to me. I've never had anything like that happen before. It only happened to me that one night, and I don't know. It was pretty crazy. So it's great because it shows 3 things about me. 1, I can roll with whatever. 2, I improvise with the audience a lot. And 3, I'm not an asshole. And those are 3 very important things that people need to know about me now.
Well, it's funny because that was my next question. Is as I was watching that, I wasn't sure if this was
If I was an asshole or not.
not it was if you seemed like you liked it, and I was like, well, this is very disruptive, and I was like, is that and that was my question is like, do you prefer like that the audience feels that comfortable with you, right? Because if you don't do douchey comedy and you're not mean to your audience, and I feel like that
No,
makes them
never.
more right. So some guys would be more too intimidated, to to speak out because they might get roasted, right? So I mean, what do you prefer as a stand-up? Like, do you prefer that they feel comfortable that you're not going to be mean to them, or I mean, is it really that disruptive where you're like, guys, you got to shut up, let me get through my material?
But it depends, but both. There'll be a lot of times where people will not shut up, and I just have to tell them, stop it. I had a Russian guy approach the stage 2 nights ago, and he wouldn't leave, and I had to be like, dude, everybody wants you to leave, you know? And he just, he just kind of was going to be, so stuff like that. Yeah, I have to interject and say, guys, get out it, shut up, or I'm going to have to kick you out. But when it's something like this, it changes so much because he's just a part of the show. He's a part of that night. Everybody knows that that night is only for that night,
Yeah.
and so we kind of, that's what makes stand-up fun, and that's why I like live entertainment, because it's always different,
Yeah.
and it's just for that audience that night.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you clearing that up, because I was curious as I was watching it. I didn't realize that it was so spontaneous.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so okay, so this is an entertainment show, celebrity driven. So I wanted to, and I'm a publicist, so I want to give you a chance to clear this up, right? So your current status with Ryan Reynolds, are you guys okay now, or do you still? You mentioned at one point in an interview that you felt like he was insecure.
If
Do
you
you want
see
to?
both, if you see both of the interviews, because then I talked about it again on Jim and Sam the next day.
Yep.
It's like, what? Yeah. So what I was gonna say is, sorry, my wife is like right across the thing, being like,
Oh,
but it's no, it's I told a weird story on the about no, I told a story about something weird that happened on the set and speculated why, kind of. And then he emailed me the next day, and I emailed him, and it's fine. It was never not fine, but it's fine. It's just, if you say anything and the media can grab it and spin it or make a headline out of it, so it'll be clickbait. It's always clickbait. Then they'll do that. And so then it ends up being up to the person who got clickbaited to go back and like follow it up and explain it. And then they don't really do anything about that because it's not going to get any clicks. So as a
right.
publicist, you should know that a lot of this is just whatever the media wants to, uh, you know, um, frame it as, and it's just because they want clicks, because it's motivated by website traffic, because that's how they get advertisers. So
And
it
that's
kind of,
why.
it wasn't anything. It just encourages me to do what I'll do from now on, which is just say nothing. Just say nothing about people, you know. That's it.
Yeah.
But it's really been frustrating because, here I am trying to put forth this here I am trying to talk about the narrative of this Dear Jonah, this stand-up special that is everything that I just said that it was. And then that gets derailed when somebody asks me a question, and because Deadpool 3 just happened to be in the news at that point, and just no one would have paid attention if it wasn't close to that part of the cycle. But that's kind of all there is to talk about that, because now I'm kind of struggling to, remind people that I'm here talking about this great special with this kid that is, the biggest part of the national conversation right now is ableism. It's a big deal. They made Lizzo and Beyonce remove the word spaz from their songs,
Hmm.
and so there's all this talk about ableism. And then here I do something that's completely the opposite. I'm including someone in the conversation. I'm not being mean to them or disregarding their situation or how they're referred to. But that's just not going to do. No one's picking that up and saying, TJ Miller has this incredible special that includes somebody and shows why ableism doesn't have to be the only thing in this national conversation about, the types of people that have these ableist, they're not going to do that because that's not going to get any clicks, right? And so it's just a real bummer ultimately that, like, that's not the focus of this. But as you know, I have a publicity firm that is putting this out to different people, trying to get them to have an angle to include me. And just nobody really wants to do that. They just really are looking for me to be a part of the national conversation, um, worldwide conversation, as a person who said something controversial.
Right.
And so it's incredibly frustrating because once they like that about you, and they don't like, well, then they're going to paint you as, what gets the most clicks.
Yeah, and that's kind of the purpose of why I started the show, is to give people that platform to speak out with what you're saying. So it's I can imagine.
Which I appreciate, because
Yeah.
that's not the case for a lot of other shows, and also for that very reason, I did feel comfortable talking about it. Where I was sort of over there going, "That's it. You don't have anything else to say about it," because that's everybody's advice. It's just because of the nature of your show. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about that. It was years and years ago. Um, I did some article with Vulture or something, and I talked about all this stuff in Silicon Valley and all these kinds of things. And I talked a little bit about how the media sometimes vilifies me. And I made some comment like, but I'm okay with that. If they want to do that, then whatever. And they just put the headline was TJ Miller is okay being America's villain or something. I don't even remember what it was, but it was like that damning, and that instructional as to how people, and it almost feels like they were offended by that. And so now they kind of are really excited to just go at me for this reason or that reason. And it's just going to take, it's not even like it takes time or something. It just takes, something like Dear Jonah, right? Catching fire or doing another film or something like that. And then they, might do a 180, or try, but it's so tough. And it's really, for me, honestly, and again, speaking to the nature of your show, it's kind of sad because everybody has their own beliefs and own politics and all this kind of stuff, right? And I'm not talking about mine, but I am talking about the fact that this is what I find to be sad, is that if you want to say to the public, the media is biased, they're driven by capitalism, you can't trust that they'll be objective, all those things, almost every American is like, yeah, I could see that, because every article that I scroll down to has a bunch of like clickbait things by, Zizo.com, or, where it's like the terrible truth of so-and-so and so-and-so's. And it's like, you can't even end a real article without tabloid type shit at the bottom. Right. And then, yeah, you even look to place it's entertainment, and it's driven by clicks. So that's just kind of a bummer, because I wish, and my wife Kate has this great the Good News Network, I think is the name of it. And it's just an Instagram page that just delivers good news, inspirational stories. Whereas we only get a puppy saved another puppy from a fire every night on the evening news. But this is just for that. And so I think that's the other thing is, fear sells, kind of Schadenfreude sells. And we're talking about this with social media, of course, right now, all the time, that it tries to get you angry because you'll click more, you'll engage with people that you're fighting with more than somebody that gives you a compliment. You're only going to give them one compliment back. And if somebody's trolling you, you'll go back and forth and say you're an idiot. And it just keeps you on the platform longer. And so sadly, I kind of have seen the darker side of that much more up close and personally.
Would you describe yourself as basically a victim of clickbait?
I mean, I don't think many people should be describing themselves as, I wouldn't describe myself as a victim. I don't see that. But I think that more often than not, if somebody's reporting on me, they're going to find a clickbait angle, right? And I don't think that that's just me. I'm talking about sort of a bigger, the macrocosm of how this happens to so many people. And, if the clickbait is positive, then they'll still do it. But as we're talking about it, everybody knows like the positive doesn't get as many clicks as the negative. So I think everybody, you want to talk about a victim, not me. I think, the public at large is kind of a victim of media manipulation in the sense that it's driven by clicks. And so clickbait does better than other, reporting or other headlines.
Well, what was the misunderstanding? Like you said, did you call Ryan insecure? Did you say that him and Blake's marriage was well curated? Like, did you say those things and not mean them, or was it just what did they cut up your words and make it sound a certain way?
Now we're getting to a place where it feels like you're kind of doing it, even if you don't mean to. But it's like,
Okay.
here's what I would say: watch the interview, and then watch my interview with Jim Norton, and Jim and Sam, and then you actually have the information.
Okay.
It's the issue is that most people don't go and listen to the interview with Jim and Sam, where I did do a follow up. So it like doesn't matter if I do it or whatever. It's the whole thing is what I see. I already said the whole thing. It's
Okay.
like I had I told a story for being on set, right? And I speculated why. And then the next day it kind of went crazy. So Ryan emailed me, was really cool about it, is a great guy, very good dude. And then I emailed back and it's over. So it's kind of like the only thing that keeps it in the media cycle is people like yourself saying, well, I want you to clear this up, because it's already been cleared up. It's kind of, that's it.
What are your plans do you have plans for Deadpool 3? Like, is that something that you spoke about that I missed? Like, do you
Yeah,
want?
I did. I already talked about it.
Okay. Are you open to talking about that? Like, do you want to be a part of it? Have you been asked to be a part of it?
I mean, if you know anything about Marvel movies, you're not allowed to talk about it.
Okay. Hugh Jackman, you can't talk about like your personal opinion or your excitement for that, or
I mean, no,
no?
no, not really.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm saying is like I don't this this strikes me a lot like um it strikes me a lot like my experience with Mario Lopez. He was um I'm trying to talk about this incredible special which you've seen, which I appreciate. So many other people haven't seen the special, but I'm trying to talk about that, and people just want to talk about Deadpool 3. It's like I can't talk about Deadpool 3. I can't.
Okay. Well, let me, because a lot of times when we have comedians on, we'll ask them, like, are you about like other or things in comedy, right? So I noticed that you say nothing controversial. So many comedians are talking about racism, the LGBT community, like, and you stay away from that and you keep it fun and light, right? I mean, that's all your specials have been like that. Like, what is your reasoning for like, but the comedians that are controversial probably get more views because they are so edgy. They say things that they don't, and it's an easy way to get views because you're speaking on things you shouldn't, right? So you're intentionally not doing that as a comic. So are you? Why is that? Is it because you don't have interest in it, or do you fear the backlash? Why is your style so different?
Well, that's Dear Jonah kind of shows like because I'm more interested in doing that. I'm more interested in improvising with the audience and lifting the audience up rather than talking about. I do talk about race, but it's mostly about whites.
Right.
And as as a guy like me, it's just not going to serve me really to go and say like, um, you know, uh, oh, I think this about Puerto Ricans or something. That just doesn't. It's not me, and it's not really going to work. And I don't know. I mean, I don't. That idea of all publicity is good publicity, I think is. I don't know. I just don't know that that's necessarily the case. So I'm not being driven for clicks, and by getting headlines for being edgy or offensive or anything like that. And I mean, look at what's happening. It's like Chris Rock is making a joke that really was benign, and he's getting slapped in the face. I don't think it just doesn't feel like now is a good time to be playing that angle, and that's just not me.
Yeah. When you're watching, well, the Chris Rock's a great example. I'm a big fan of comedy. I've always, studied it. And, when Chris Rock gets slapped, like that joke wasn't even that controversial. You know what I mean? It wasn't even that, like, how did that strike you? Or is like, I mean, how do you view stuff like that? Does it seems like should everything be on limits, for comedy? Was Chris wrong for that, or was Will wrong? Like, what is your view?
I mean, I don't think anybody should be slapping anybody. Period. No matter what's said or no matter anything, it's kind of like, you know,
I think we may have lost him. I will give a few minutes to see if TJ comes back. Hello, Barb. Hello, Terry. Yeah, let me see. Let me see here. Mm. That's right, Terry. Barb says it looks like the books. Love the books separated by colors. I think you are right. Terry said no one should put hands on anyone. I don't know if that was a hang-up or if we got disconnected. So I'm not sure how long to wait. I will have an email sent to his. Thank you guys for watching. This was kind of last minute. Let's see. I don't see him here. It's possible that I got hung up on, or that I know that he was charging his laptop at one point. So I don't know if the battery died, but yes, I think that was a hang up. So I guess we will end it. So thank you guys for watching. This was just kind of last minute. We were supposed to do this on Zoom, and we switched it over to YouTube Live. But I don't believe TJ is coming back. So I guess we will end it. Okay. I thought the conversation was good. I think I'm talking to myself. But just wait. Terry, you think I should wait? Terry, I think it's just me and you. I think there might have been some irritation with the questions. Terry, how you doing? Terry's here in the comments. We lost Barb, and we lost TJ. I think that's it. I think that was a hang-up, which is unfortunate. I will have my producer reach out and see if TJ is coming back. But anyway, if he does not come back, if this is the end of it, then guys, please go see. Let's go. Me and Terry are here. If he does not make it back, then TJ does have a special called Dear Jonah. It's very unique and interesting. And he's right. It does have a guy that keeps speaking out. It turned out to be special needs, but I believe been hung up on, and that's it. This was great. Thank you all for watching, and this will be live on our YouTube pretty soon. So thank you, TJ, for being our guest today, and I hope to have you back on soon. All right, guys, thanks again.